Welcome to Beauty and the Brain with your hosts, Dr. Chris Croley and nurse practitioner Jerry Drinkard. Get ready to dive into the latest in revolutionary treatments, cutting-edge devices, and wellness secrets. Whether you're a consumer or provider, we're here to empower you at the forefront of beauty and aesthetics.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of Beauty and the Brain, the podcast where we discuss all things aesthetics. I'm your co-host, Dr. Chris Croley.
And I'm Jerry Drinkard, family nurse practitioner. And together, Chris and I own Skin and Tonic, med spa that's located in Pace, Florida. We are so happy to have Ashley Pollard, one of our local favorites, back. She's a local nurse practitioner and an expert in family practice. She has primary care. She does weight loss. She's an expert at a lot of things. So
yeah, I'm back, bitches.
Yeah, we're super excited to have her. Actually, Ashley helps us both with our primary care, some hormone management personally, and we love to refer patients to her because she takes such phenomenal care of them. So Jerry said she's an expert in many things, but really specializing in her own your practice around weight loss is one of the things that really shot you to another level.
It did. It's surprising.
But you do a lot of other things.
I do a lot of other things. Some aesthetics, I do weight loss, peptides, hormone management. There's just a huge array. It all plays in together, quite frankly. So I like to, make sure that we have optimized our health as much as we can, managing all aspects of your healthcare. Just kind of help navigate that system with you. You
mentioned you do some aesthetics, and we always talk about on our podcast, there's a lot of this, I think it's a myth out there. Maybe some people view it this way, but they think about competitors. And long before it was popular, Jerry and I would say it's much more of a community and collaboration, not so much competition. And so just as you do some aesthetics and do a great job at it and kind of refer to us for things that you're not super, we do the same. So we do a little bit of weight loss in the clinic and some other kind of just more like coaching sort of things. But we send a lot to your, that people who are truly experts and do it full time for the more challenging things. So there definitely is room for all of us in this
Absolutely.
space.
I love the collaboration that we have. There's plenty of patients to go around. There's really no need to cut each other off and, snake other patients. So I think that's just a little juvenile, but it happens, but that's them and that's their thing. So I just believe that we all work together. It just makes a better community and better health altogether.
Well, I think the patients get better care as a result. And so we have other, there's a lot of good providers in the Pensacola area in general for aesthetics and for primary care and do weight loss. And sometimes we just click with people better than others. And so I'm like, I don't want a patient staying with me because I'm the only choice.
Right.
I want them to really find somebody they connect with and that they can help them along their journey, whether it's aesthetics or weight loss or just getting their, primary care problems.
Absolutely.
So thanks for taking time to be here with us. This is a topic that you are for sure the expert on. We are just here to facilitate a conversation and really help get this message out to some of our listeners. There's a ton of development in the weight loss industry over the past few years. And even since the last time we had you on and talked about some weight loss, there's been even more medications approved officially.
Right.
Some of these have been used off-label for a bit. So we want to talk a little bit more about that, but also some about peptide therapies in general, because we get a lot of questions about that. And, I know a little bit about them, and we've, kind of dabbled with peptides a little, but really you are definitely more the expert on that. And so we're excited to have you here today so we can kind of talk about that and let our listeners know what are these things called peptides and what can they do for you?
So peptides are short amino acid chains, proteins, building blocks for our cells. We've used peptides for quite a long time. Like AOD 9604 is the anti-obesity drug. It was first researched in the 90s. They were looking for something that would cause some fat lipolysis, just fat breakdown, without a whole lot of muscle building to it. And then they just went into further research with other peptides that affect it's like human growth hormone secretagogues. It helps your own growth hormone release so that you better utilize that. So it also helps IGF-1. Also, IGF-1 is your intrinsic growth factor, which is huge with anti-aging. If you have a low anti-aging IGF-1, then you're kind of, you may age a little bit. You may even have cardiovascular risks and events with that as well. So peptides kind of help perk up your own natural system, so it just amps them up.
So they're not a hormone. They're something that's going to make
peptide,
it
correct.
And stimulate your body to make your own hormones.
Correct. Like recently we've had, Ozempic and Wegovy and Rybelsus. Those are peptides. They're glucagon-like peptides.
I don't think
it's the same thing.
people think about them like
they don't.
peptide.
Insulin's a peptide. Nobody thinks that insulin's a peptide. We've used that for how long? Forever and ever. It's a peptide. And then we have, Mounjaro was the other new kid on the block, which is the GLP-1 with the GIP. And then same thing that happened with them, like with, it happened with Ozempic. They wanted it approved for weight loss. They went to the FDA. FDA said, no, you have to, call it something else, but in a different delivery system. And so Mounjaro went back and they said, yes, we have Zepbound now. It's approved for weight loss. So it's the same molecule, same delivery system, pretty much. Dosing may be a little bit different, just like Ozempic and Wegovy, a little bit different dosing tiers. Mounjaro and Zepbound, I think they're pretty much the same though. So, but they work really well in helping with losing weight. It turns on your satiety hormone. It allows you to have a little bit better, tighter control. It quiets down the food noise that you have. So you have better control over what you're eating. Because our biggest problem in America is our portion sizes. So we eat to reckless abandon all the time because we can have whatever we want. It's America. So this turns on that satiety hormone so that you can eat just enough. Your body says, that's enough. We're good here. Sends that signal up. If you go beyond that signal, it says, oh no, here's some nausea, enjoy. You're like, oh, I don't want to feel that way every time. So it kind of, the visualization I get with my patients, I tell them, I want you to make your plate like you normally do, but cut everything in half. Take half off your plate, see if you can get through that half. And if you can, great. And that's the visualization. That's the habit that I want you to form, is looking at your plate saying, I don't need this much food on my plate. I need this much food on my plate, and I'm satisfied. So these peptides work in that respect. They turn on the satiety hormone. They help us, develop better habits, because you're going to have to have better habits in play in order to make this successful. I don't care what diet you do, what exercise you do, what drug you do. I don't care what you do. If you go back to your old habits, you're going to go back to your old body. That's just how it is. You have to make lifestyle changes, and these help facilitate those to make those changes. Peptides, there's all different kinds. The ones that I choose to use, that I like to use in my practice, are AOD 9604, which is the anti-obesity drug 9604. And that one works with, like I said, it helps reduce the fat that you have on your body without increasing your lean muscle mass so much. If you want to increase your lean muscle mass, we're going to CJC 1295 with ipamorelin. That one increases lean muscle mass. A lot of my guys like that one just because it works really well. They see the definition, they see the increase in the muscle mass while they're working out and exercising. Sermorelin, that's the one that increases your IGF-1. So it's more of the anti-aging. And a lot of these peptides work in a lot of the same ways. A lot of them help with lean muscle mass building. They help with lipolysis. They help with joint health. They help with repairing injuries to your joints as well. So a lot of athletes have used them in the past. My favorite is BPC 157. My favorite. It's made from gastric juices. So a lot of these things, they work a lot of the same way. It's just for certain, whatever you're looking for, that's what we're going to tailor to you.
Do you find that a lot of patients are coming in now and wanting to go straight to some sort of peptide rather than trying conventional dieting, exercise?
Yeah. They're seeing a lot of, they get on TikTok or they get on Instagram and they see a lot of these peptides. And like, what are these peptides? And they do their own little research, and then they come to me and we just kind of direct them in what they want to do. For a lot of my patients, if they want to try, a GLP-1 for their weight loss, but they also want to have, a little bit improved weight loss or better sleep quality, I can put them on AOD 9604 as an adjunct or on its own. Do CJC, the 1295 with ipamorelin, for a lot of my guys, for their muscle building. BPC, great for sleep. Sleep is extremely important for weight loss as well. So a lot of people don't understand that it's important, to pull your cortisol levels down so you can sleep at night. But
So Jerry, which ones have you tried?
I had a really good question, and you just messed up mine. Saying we can come right back to it. I'm sure we will come. I'm sure we'll come back to it, and I'm sure you'll want to know the reasons I tried it. So, but my question: well, a lot of our patients are on hormone replacement therapy, and especially the guys. Can you combine hormone replacement therapy with the CJC 1295?
Absolutely, you can. They find that it works out, really well together. To see improved muscle gains in it as well. So, a lot of times the guys, they get on testosterone, they see a little bit and then they kind of get that tortoisey shell kind of belly, or they may start getting, some adipose tissue around the breast area. But then we add in the CJC and ipamorelin, or we can add in some Arimidex, use things in conjunction just for overall health and wellness, just to kind of get them where they want to go.
Maybe I'll try that one.
I like that one. Joey likes that one the best too. The thing about CJC and ipamorelin is it's 5 nights on, 2 nights off is what I usually do with my patients. Sub-Q injection, arm, belly, wherever you want to do it. But you have to wait at least 2 hours after eating before doing it. If you don't, you have this flushing sensation, and it feels like you're going to spontaneously combust. Joey hated it. He was like, I hate this. I love the effects of it. Hate that part of it. I'm like, well, you're not waiting long enough. But he didn't get that with Samorelin. So he liked the Samorelin a little bit better, side effect wise, than he did the CJC 1295. Which one did you try?
I tried melanotan.
That the PT141 or bremelanotide?
Yes. And so my whole thing was I thought I was going to do good by trying melanotan. I was going to be out of the sun because I like having a little color. And the nice thing about melanotan is the side effects are, you have increased pigmentation, you like loss of appetite, like spontaneous erections. I'm like, I'm going to be hard, I'm going to be dark, and I'm going to be skinny. This is like... Anyway, I ended up with a lot of like hyperpigmentation actually following it.
Oh, wow.
But I did have Chris would tell me, he's like, you need to dial it down.
Yeah.
It gives you
For sure gives you a tan.
Yeah,
For sure.
it was pretty dark with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
So PT141 is the bremelanotide. Anyway, Joey's my guinea pig if y'all haven't figured that out yet. He wanted to try it because we use it for the pigmentation. We also use it for ED, things like that. And a lot of our older guys, they always come in, we'll ask about testosterone. They ask about just fillers, all kinds of things like that. So I said, Joey, just try this. He will never do it again. It caused such severe stomach cramping. He laid on the couch. I thought he was going to die. I'm like, oh my God, I think I've killed him. But it was just one of the side effects. It was awful. And he's like, I'm never doing that again. Goes, I'm like this, but I'm never doing that again. And I'm like, okay.
We would end up in the ER if I tried something like that. I get so worried about like side effects.
I'm going to rupture my gut.
Yeah, I would be in the ER like for sure. What are the concerns around regulation of these? I know we're going to have you on before and then scheduling didn't work out, but we kind of talked before the episode that there are some regulatory concerns around it. And how do we work around that, and how do you counsel your patients on that?
So peptides aren't really banned. They're put on a danger list. And a lot of providers don't want to prescribe these medications because who wants to prescribe them something on a danger list or something like that? And, oh my gosh, this is dangerous. Well, we have a lot of good, double-blind placebo studies that have really good efficacy, really good outcomes with very little side effects, if any at all. You can prescribe them. They're not banned. It's just, why are we blacklisting or, danger listing these certain peptides? Well, because they aren't monetized as much as they want them to be. Merck right now is studying 200 different peptides as we speak, some of them on the danger list, so they can eventually monetize them as well.
I know with some of the peptides, there are contraindications, the semaglutide and certainly some of the others. But what about some of the others? Are there a lot of...
There's really not a whole lot of contraindications to those. So, and we use them short term anyway. Like 3 months on, 3 months off is a lot of times what I do with my patients. Some guys, I have one patient that loves them so much, he's on it year round. He loves it. So it just depends on what your goals are. Really, honestly, no contraindications specifically. I run a full, complete lab panel to make sure we don't have anything at baseline that we need to address first. I mean, I'm looking at prolactin, IGF-1. I'm looking at all of the different things that can cause like an alteration in your hormones and an alteration in your overall health in general. So
as you sit here and go through them all, I am, as always, I've done a lot of peptide classes and looked at it, from an individual personal perspective as well as a provider, and like, do we bring it in? And I get overwhelmed by how many are out there and how many different options are. So I think, kind of to me, one of the messages is to make sure that you go to a qualified provider, somebody who's going to do, as you're saying, you do a full lab panel, and that you're going to make sure that what the patient's requesting actually matches their needs. Yeah. And that, there are some kind of safety checks in place because, unfortunately, all too often, I think in the aesthetic industry especially, there's not as much regulations as people would like to think there are. I think the general public assumes there's all these steps in place, but the reality is a lot of people can do these things and they don't necessarily have the training, or they're not doing the extra steps that you're saying to monitor these things. So, and I think that hurts the industry as a whole, because then you have these players out there who are not doing a full thorough workup. Yes. And it then hurts us all and impedes our ability, the ones that are trying to do the right thing, to get the products that we need to help our patients.
Absolutely. So I do a full complete panel before you even get prescribed anything, because I want to make sure that I'm not going to aggravate something or exacerbate something that you already, that's already going on. So I like to be very thorough, figure out which one is your best fit. We can pair it up with other things. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do to optimize your health.
I think that's where it's really important, and for patients and your role as the primary care provider, it really plays a huge role in this, because it's not you're just going to a weight loss clinic.
Right.
You're not just going to get a peptide. It's looking at the overall picture. And so I think that it's important for patients. We tell people all the time in courses that we teach, like, vet your provider.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask, why are we qualified to do this treatment to you? Why are we qualified to, get you on a peptide? Why are we qualified to do Botox or Dysport or whatever? But I think a lot of times people, when they go to a healthcare provider, they just automatically trust them. And so, ask questions.
Absolutely.
Like, everybody, I think, should ask their provider, like, why are you qualified to take care of me?
And with me doing like primary care as well, if you come into me and you're coming in for weight loss and you don't have a primary care provider, and I notice it over the past couple of times that you've been and your blood pressure's through the roof, we're addressing it. We're gonna fix that too. I'm not gonna just let you sit here and just pop a vessel. I'm gonna actually treat you. I'm gonna act as a primary provider for you in that respect as well. I'm not gonna just let you flitter off in the wind.
So when it comes down to not just weight loss, so the peptides in general, clearly this all starts with an in-person consult where you're going to address that patient's goals and what things you have to, kind of help them meet those goals. And so I'm sure that there's a lot of variables that are going to go into what you then come up with as their ultimate plan. But is there a general price range? So I don't think a lot of our listeners are going to know, or is this in the thousands of dollars per month? Or, what is the price?
Right now, while they are not, regulated by the FDA so much. I mean, AOD is FDA approved. It is FDA regulated, but a lot of them, they're not as expensive as people think. So I know that for like AOD 9604, it's $150 for 30 of the troches. And we do troches. They're dissolvables that you put under the tongue. You can put them in the cheek or under the tongue. They dissolve. The other ones, the injectables, tend to be a little bit more expensive and they're a little bit more tedious. But if you're comfortable with giving yourself an injection, learning how to draw up, we teach you how to do all of those things as well. Those can be anywhere from 150 to 285 to 300,
per peptide per month.
Per peptide. And sometimes those peptides, depending on the volume, the dosage, the volume, that could last you 6 to 8 weeks. It just depends.
So we're talking about, depending on how many you're on, anywhere from a couple $100 a month up to maybe $500 or $600 per month, somewhere in that range. Yeah, people who are focused on their health.
Yeah.
It's worth investing in that if it's going to improve your overall well-being, the way you feel about yourself, and the way you look as well.
Everyone does these things because they want to look better and they want to feel better, and so that's the best way to start.
Yeah, I'm on like a customized vitamin program from Dr. Stephen Soar from Source of Health, and I've talked to you about him because you helped me with my labs. But I mean, I think the vitamins alone, they're not cheap. They're a couple $100 or a little bit less per month. But the way that I feel, worth it. I'll
and how long have you been doing that?
A couple of months now.
So yeah, that's the same thing with peptides. You can't just think, I'm going to do 1 month of peptides, see how I feel. It takes about a good 3 months, honest to goodness, 3-month try to see the benefit, to see the difference, to feel the difference. I know that when I did my 3-month cycle of BPC, I did not have any pain in my joints. I have terrible knees and hips. And so when I did that, it was great. I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm 25 again. This is great. And then as soon as I stopped, I was like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Now, does it come back right away? Or?
It doesn't come back. It creeps back in. You're like, okay, it's the weather changing. Is it rain? What is it? I don't know. No, it was the daggone BPC. I was without it. So I'm getting ready to start my next cycle. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, Jared, maybe you need to see her for that.
Yeah. I have psoriatic arthritis, so I battle it.
I would do the injectable with you. Sure.
I've been on Skyrizi, which has really helped me a lot. So, joint pain is nothing to play with.
What other questions do you have before we close out the episode?
When can I get an appointment?
As soon as you want one.
I need to come in. I need the one that makes me thin, not dark.
Yeah.
Thin and muscular.
Well, we're going to put all your contact information obviously below. You guys can check it out. It's the Ashley Clinic. Yep. And Ashley Pollard, thank you so much for being with us today. We look forward to always.
I love it.
Yeah, always enjoy seeing you.
So we got a whole, this is just the beginning of this year. So we got a whole year and you're right down the road. So
very exciting, yes.
You have to come back and we'll talk about more fun stuff.
Absolutely.
Look forward to seeing you guys next week on another episode of Beauty and the Brain.
See you soon.